All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Atlanta. Good morning, Southeast. Good morning, East Coast. Good morning, wherever you are. My name is Giovanni, and I am delighted to be your host today for this conversation. That is one that is really close to my heart and is very, very profound for me, and to me, very important to me because I think that in the life of an entrepreneur, nothing really begins to shift. No really business begins to happen until one starts creating a team. And today we're going to be talking about the number one mistake, in my opinion, that most entrepreneurs make when building a team, or that most business owners make when they're trying to grow their team or empower their team. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I am really, really excited about that conversation. Here's why. I found in 2008, I, I jumped off a perfectly flying working plane and I went skydiving. And at the time, I was somewhat working for myself. However, I didn't really have a team. So when I had this skydiving accident, then I found myself not being able to create money for myself. The accident have left me in bed for about 4 months and without walking for about 8 months. So everything I had built up until that point had been hindered. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't do anything. And it was clear for me that I needed to think differently. And what was opening up at that moment was that I didn't have a team. I had built a life based only on myself, on what I can do and I cannot do. I had not built anything in my life that couldn't make any income for myself without me being there. And that's when I realized that it was important for me to build a team, to build a business that can be sustainable with a team, at least for a long period of time. So then I started trying to create a team. I started trying to build a team. And what I discovered in that process was that my personality of go-getter, of doer, of never sleeping, of waking up in the morning, as whatever that personality of doing whatever there is to do, no matter what, was not going to build a team. I started to realize that the way I had lead myself to get results and the way to lead others to get results are two different things, are completely different things. And that was kind of in my blind spot. I started building this very small marketing business. That was one of my first businesses. And I noticed that I couldn't get along with the people I was working with, but I was trying really hard. And I can't say that they weren't trying hard either. We're all trying to make it work. However, although we were all committed, we were rowing in a different direction. We were clashing with each other. And even though I wanted things to work, it just seemed to be easier to simply do it myself. Let me just do things myself. Or it end up becoming easier to simply delegate. Okay, you do that, and I do this, and we come together and we report from the field. But let's not have a real relationship because we can't really see eye to eye. We need each other, but we can't really see eye to eye. Or I started getting frustrated when I started building a small team. And then I thought, well, I know I'm just going to tell them what to do. And because I'm going to pay them, they're supposed to do it. They're supposed to do what I'm asking them to do because I'm paying them. And that wasn't working either. So it was difficult for me to discover that I was trying to lead others, to influence others the way I influence myself, the way I lead myself. And I think that that's the number one mistake that most entrepreneurs make, that they don't know that in a way to influence other people, a way to create a team, it won't be by looking at what are the structures and what are the strategies that I use, that you use to get results are not the same as the strategies that you need to use to get a team to work together. And that was the number one, that in my experience has been the number one mistake that most entrepreneurs make. One of the things that I was very accustomed to was to work really hard. But it is easy to work really, really hard when you're working for yourself because you're working for your own thing. You're fighting the fight for your own idea, for your own dream. And when you bring somebody on board, then asking them to do the same thing, get up at 4 in the morning, go to bed at midnight, they can't quite see how they can give that much energy for somebody else's dream, for somebody else's ideas. They can't quite see it. And then at the time, I used to think, well, they're supposed to grow. They're supposed to want to play all out. Because if we don't play all out, if we don't do everything that there is to do, then the whole system will collapse, then the whole business will collapse, and then nobody's going to get paid anyway. You're supposed to know. The other aspect that I was doing when I was discovering how to create a team was that I knew that my professional growth, my personal growth and development was that was my responsibility, nobody else's. Nobody was supposed to come and tell me that I needed to train myself, I need to educate myself. So I was expecting that the people I started to work with at the beginning, they would know that too. I was expecting them to do the courses, do their masters, do whatever they needed to do so that they can grow themselves. And so when I invited them to go to take courses, or I invited them to look at how to become better at a particular technology or etc., when I invited them to do that, they would be like, but what is wrong with you? You have to pay for me. You have to pay for me to grow. You have to pay for me to take that course because I'm going to come and use it in my business, in your business. And I used to think, what do you mean? This is your stuff. This is your growth. Why don't you put skin in the game? And so this is pointing to the number one mistake that most entrepreneurs make, expecting people to have the same ideas, the same pace, the same strategies for growth, for their own growth. So I wasn't growing too much. So then I said, well, I'm not going to create a team anymore. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to outsource things. I'm going to outsource my marketing. I'm going to outsource my project management. I'm going to outsource. I'm going to outsource everything. And I'm going to keep as a small team as I can because people are a pain in the butt. And I can't do it.
And they don't want to pay their own way.
And they don't want to pay their own way. But then I started noticing that when you outsource, the people who you're outsourcing to don't care about your business as much as the people that work for you because they have other clients. They have 10, 15, 20 other clients. So you're just one piece of their revenue. So then I started noticing, no, it's actually better for the business to have a team, to create a team. Then I thought, huh, here's my blind spot. My blind spot is that I don't know how to influence people. That's my blind spot. My blind spot is not my drive. My blind spot is not my business, the idea that I have of my business. It's not the industry I am in. It's not the political climate. It's not the inflation. It's how I influence people. That's the blind spot. I don't know how to influence people. And about 10 years ago, or a little bit more than that, I started to study the organization that I was working for. I started to see what is it that makes them an impactful organization globally. The organization I was working for, they were getting paid about $100,000 a week for training and development, a little bit of what Farid does. But they were getting paid $100,000 a week to train people's or companies' teams. And I thought, well, what is so valuable? What is so valuable that a company is willing to pay consultants $100,000, $500,000 for a 3-month project? What is so valuable? And I started to see that one of the aspects that gets companies to grow and create revenues and also cut losses is to have people work together. It's a very, very big deal. It's a very big deal. Your human capital, the people you work with, can be not only 10%, 50%, 100% more productive. They can be 500% more productive if you know how to elevate their standards, if you know how to get them to work together. And for most of us, it's in our blind spot. We don't know how to do that. And I went to get a master's degree in management and leadership. And I did this program that was developed by Jack Welch. He's the CEO or was the CEO for General Electric. And my professor was a graduate lawyer from Harvard Business School. So he was like this big deal. And uh, and so I went to learn from these two guys. I did my master's from these two guys, from these people, and they didn't teach me how to get people to work together. It's like a real blind spot in the world, how to get people to work together. And in my opinion, people accidentally discover it, accidentally most of the time, unless you pay the big bucks for the big consulting companies or the Farids of the world. So here's what I learned, and here's the seed I want to leave you with, so that you can create your team. Once you create your team and you know how to have them work together, you have won the lottery. Because once you have three minds coming together, four minds coming together, rowing together, and being committed to high standards and a particular integrity and a particular process and a particular goal, once you are able to create that team, your business will your business will explode. Not any kind of team, an intentional team, the high performing team, the team that goes to the Olympics. And you can do that. You can create a team that goes to the Olympics. Now, so I'm going to give you the tips. The first step is in creating your team is to get together with them and create a goal together for the opportunity of your business. That together they say, they have a say of where your business is going. What's our goal for this quarter, for this year, for this 5 years? What's the goal that we are committed to building together? Regardless if that person had just started in your business. They want to feel like they're part of something, and they want to feel that they're part of something big. Even if they don't believe in themselves, they can believe in you. And if you don't believe in yourself, then I love that saying. Maybe I heard it from Stan, which is an act of faith activates the hand of God. An act of faith activates the hand of God. So even if you don't believe in yourself, just take small acts of faith towards the vision you have. Just take those steps. Your team will see you taking those steps, even if you don't believe in yourself, and they start taking steps too, because whatever you believe, they believe, right? So here's the number one tip. So the first one is get together with your team and create that goal, something that gets them to feel part of something. People are willing to do way more for a mission, for a crusade, to feel part of something than for a paycheck. And as a leader, when you get that, you trigger magic, a power that you couldn't imagine before for yourself. So once you come together and you put in the board, what's the goal? What's our goal that we're going to play together? You don't have to worry about whether it's a attainable goal, whether you think you could do it. You don't have to worry about that. What you want to worry about is that you're doing it together with your team, that your team is part of it. The other aspect is that not only you put a goal together, but you also create your business mission driven. Mission driven is like, what is the impact that we're committed to doing to our community or to our country or the world? Have your business become mission driven, some mission, whatever that is, and have that mission you created, if you can, with the team, with your core team. That way, they bring their heart into what they do. It's not just about the job anymore. It's about the legacy of their lives so that they feel that the actions that they're taking every day, they're part of a legacy. If you can get your team to align on a legacy and to align on a vision that they are building together, you have done half of the job because they'll bring their creativity, they'll bring their passion. Now they'll bring their best that they got. You still have to lead, you still have to create love, you still have to create purpose, you still have to do more than anybody else, surely at the beginning. However, by having your team collectively connect to a mission, right, and a particular goal, you've done half of the job. And then you create this avatar with your team. And the avatar is this like this evolved leader. It's not you. It's an imaginary leader that has this particular core values. It's like this. When you look at your mission and you look at your goals, your vision, you know you need to create this avatar, this particular imaginary person that can go and fulfill that mission and that can go and fulfill those goals. And in order for that person to fulfill that mission and fulfill those goals, they need to have a certain core values. And then you create values for that avatar. You create them. This person has to have integrity. This person has to be authentic. This person has to have optimism. This person has to have great customer service. This person, you have to create this avatar. And you have to give this avatar certain core values. Here's why. Because your team, they bring their own values and they're all valid and then they're all useful. But you need certain core values for your business. certain created intentional core values. And if you could do that with your team, you have created this trifecta. You have created this solid foundation for an unbreakable spirit for a team. You have created that. And then you create the foundations for a high performing team. And that foundation will give you the business you're looking for. Now, that's just the foundation. Of course, there is so much more to talk about that Farid can tell you about, right? There's the processes, there's so many things to pay attention to. Time management, structure. There's so many different things that you've got to pay attention to. But this is the foundation. This is like if you don't have legs, if you don't have legs for a table, you don't have a table. This is the foundation for a team. If you don't have the foundation, it's highly unlikely that you have a team. You have people that come together, but that doesn't mean they work together. So that's the number one mistake that most people make when building a team is to lead others the way that they lead themselves, and they don't create a foundation to come together. And the foundation is a co-creation of the mission, the vision, and the values. It's got to be a co-creation. As much as you can, you got to co-create it. Here's a principle that will give you a lot of money in the building team business. People support what they help create or what they see as theirs. People support what they help create or what they see as theirs. And once that philosophy, you allow it to cement in your leadership DNA, you can build a team anywhere in the world under any circumstances. So that's today's conversation. I hope this was valuable in creating and building your teams and making money and building your future. I love to hear from some of you. We have 5 minutes. What's percolating over there? What are comments, questions, yeah, buts? What's over there for you? What are you guys thinking? Go ahead, Farid.
Yeah. Uh, Gio, thank you so much. This was an excellent topic, excellent discussion. And when it comes to building teams,
Go ahead, Farid.
yeah, okay. So when it comes to building teams, we spoke about a number of things, right? A couple of things we have to understand is that we are working among multi-cultures. Everyone have their different culture. That's one. The second thing is that personalities. We have different personalities. I've got my own personality. You've got your own personality. Stan has his own personality. And what makes it a little more complex is if you're working across borders. For example, if you're working for a multinational company, you have to build a team. Now, whereas we have to build a high-performing team with dedicated people, highly qualified people, one of the things, Gio, that makes a good team is that the first thing a team leader has to do is to create a great relationship between the team manager or the team leader and their subordinates. And I'll give you a good example. I was a consultant for a company here. When I started, the corporate management, they told me they cannot get their workers to listen to them and to do what they would like them to do. So I said, okay. The first thing I did was that I went and I created this relationship between the workers and myself. I didn't speak anything about the company, about the work, but general things. For example, I spoke about how are they doing? And it so happened too that around that time was World Cup football. So I brought that into the conversation. What you think about the World Cup football in Germany and all the other things. So what I did, I created that bond or that relationship. And from there on, that's when I started to get them to do things. And whenever I asked them to do anything, they would do it. Now, you also spoke about values, and we have to get the team to be aligned with the company's values and missions and goals. And right? And their vision. The other thing too is that you spoke about being part of something valuable, and that's important. And that's where decision making comes in. When we have decisions to make, say for example, Stan and you and myself are on this team, and Gio is the team lead. Gio cannot always be making decisions. He has to include Stan, he has to include myself, so that we will feel valuable. We will feel a sense of belongingness in the company, so that we can see ourselves as being part of the company. And it's not always what Gio wants. Gio says, do this, we have to do this. But it's a team effort. And that's what team effort is all about, right? One of the things that actually breaks down a team is micromanagement. You hire people to do a job, but please do not micromanage them. I have worked in companies where the president enjoyed micromanaging. And long story short, he had a high staff turnover. People left because they're saying, you hired me to do a job, but yet you're micromanaging me. You're looking at everything I am doing. So where is this? So where is this teamwork? Where is this team togetherness? You see? And then the other thing too, Gio, is that you spoke about outsourcing. Outsourcing in companies, it proves less costly, less effective, less expensive. But then, for example, if you have an accounting department, if you compare the cost to outsource accountants compared to the cost of actually having in-house people outsourcing, it costs less. But then what's the downside of that? You don't have people that's in-house in the office. And because of that, it creates a lot of friction and conflict. So so there are pros and cons. But at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, some entrepreneurs feel that they can do it alone. And that's the mistake they make. Everyone doesn't have all the skill sets and all the knowledge and all the work experience to run a company and to build a company. You need people from all the different aspects and disciplines and fields of study and all of that. And this is what helps build a company and create success and prosperity in a company, when you have all these different mindsets. Yeah, Gio?
Fareed, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your nuggets and what you have seen over the years and allowing yourself to share with all of us what has been some of the important aspects of important and critical aspects of creating a team and having the team stay together. Thank you for sharing, Fareed.
You're most welcome.
Yes. So thank you all of you for being here. Thank you, Stan, for being here, Virtue, Rashida, and all of you for the opportunity of connecting with you one more Friday. So I'm going to leave you with the 8 tenets to have a powerful life and live like a renegade and live passionately around your most desired goals. The first one is love. Love always. Love those you have an opinion about. Love those who voted differently. Love those who think differently. Love. Eat more plant-based, get closer to the trees, hug the trees, eat the trees. Find a way to avoid all processed foods. It's really difficult, but try. Really avoid all of it. Eat lots of fruit. Sleep more, at least 7 hours. Move every day, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes after lunch. Move every single day. Give. Find a way to give. It's an energy that flows. It keeps coming back to you and you keep giving it away. Give. Always and always check yourself, check your assumptions before you wreck yourself. Thank you all for being here, and we'll see you Monday. Bye.
Thank you, Gio. Thank you, Fareed. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Stan.
Thank you, Gio.
Thank you, Gio.